Hello and welcome back to another episode of my MotoGP 20 career mode here for our third season in the MotoGP class. And here we are for the 7th round of the season at the Catalan GP. So finally we got back on the top step in the last episode, but unfortunately the same could not really be said for our two junior teams who had a really rough weekend. In Moto 2 they both got taken down at the first corner, and in Moto 3 Johnny Stewart did not have any pace whatsoever and Manuel Hernandez couldn't quite get into the top 5. So I'm hoping that this weekend will be a little bit better, but there is actually no advancement needed because we're already at the week of the Catalan Grand Prix, so let's head into it. I'll see you down on the Moto 3 grid. So then, down here on the Moto 3 grid, Manuel Hernandez has qualified in 8th place, 9th place for Johnny Stewart then. So Manuel outraced Johnny in the last race and has now out-qualified him here. So is Hernandez starting to build up some momentum? Hopefully he can, but hopefully that doesn't come at the cost of Johnny Stewart's performance, because I'd like to see them both near the front. So 8th and 9th on the grid then. They need to make up a few positions to get into that top 5. If they could both get into it, it'd be absolutely fantastic, but I highly doubt that's going to happen. But let's get this race started and see what they both can do. So then, on board with Manuel Hernandez, waiting for the lights to go out here then at Catalonia. Lights out and away we go. Once again, the lights gone out very quickly, but a decent start for Hernandez. Stewart, I think, has got an even better one though on the right-hand side. Actually, probably about even as they go down towards the first corner. It's a very long run down to the first turn, so if you get off the line well, you can really make up some positions. And up the inside, Hernandez is now down into 11th place, so he's not had the best first corner, although it said he was 9th then for a brief second. Back down into 11th, back up to 9th again as he goes side by side with the two Leopard bikes. I think obviously Foggia and Artigas. Around the outside he goes. Let's see where Stewart is. Stewart's down in 13th, so not the best start for Stewart either, but he's on the inside of Dennis Foggia now as well. Darren Binder is mixed in the pack as well, obviously the championship leader. McPhee and Suzuki, his two rivals, right in the front as well, so not good for Binder. He's kind of mired in the pack, but both of my riders stuck behind the two Leopards in 11th and 12th positions at the minute, so they've lost a little bit of time, but hopefully they can try and make up a couple of positions up the inside. That is Lorenzo Furlon, so once again Furlon near the two biker racing bikes up the inside of them, and they're going about 4 wide now down towards turn 7. Furlon has got ahead of Hernandez, but Stewart is still in front of him for now, but I don't know how much longer he's going to be. He is still in front of him now, so Stewart slots into 11th place and Hernandez into 13th. So down the straight on the run into turn 10 then. They're still sat obviously in the same positions because we've literally just come out of turn 9. But into turn 10, around the outside of Darren Binder goes Johnny Stewart, but he couldn't quite pull that one off. It's not really going to work through turn 10. And in fact, he's lost a position to Furlon by trying to do that. So Furlon now ahead of both bikes, and now line astern once again in 12th and 13th place. But up the inside of Darren Binder and Furlon, out of absolutely nowhere goes Stewart. So that was a pretty good move. I wasn't expecting that one. That caught me off guard quite a bit. But here he is, and still side by side with Furlon as they go through the last corner. Will Furlon be able to hold it round the outside? I think he actually managed to do that then, or at least he didn't lose too much time from it. So fair play to Furlon, but he's trying to get in the slipstream now of, I think that's Acosta in front of them. I think it's Acosta who's trying to get in the slipstream of, even though there's a couple of riders ahead that have gone about 3 wide as they go down towards the first corner. Hernandez still sat in there as well, but Stewart finally drops back behind Furlon then. So once again, running line astern, but now in 12th and 13th positions. So now Stewart's going round the outside of Pedro Acosta. Can he pull it off here? He's gone really the long way round. That's probably not going to work out. And I think he might have lost a position to Hernandez there if we swap back to Hernandez. No, Hernandez is still behind him. He actually has now got the inside of Acosta into turn 5. Hernandez now trying to go on the outside of Acosta. So Acosta seems to be struggling quite a bit because both of my riders trying to go around the outside, but I think Hernandez has lost out to Artigas by trying that, so it's really not gone well for Manuel Hernandez because he's lost a position by trying to make that pass on Pedro Acosta. Look the inside into turn 9, he goes up the inside of Acosta, he tried to get the inside of Artigas as well, but Artigas just held it round the outside, so he's back in front of Acosta, but he's still lost that position to Xavi Artigas. So swapping back to Stewart then, see where he is. He's closing up to the back of Lorenzo Furlon once again. But will he be able to make the pass on him because, of course, Furlon came from a little bit further behind and passed both of them. The camera seems to go pretty weird through that corner. It kind of looks like it's going to change angle and then sort of just moves down a little bit rather than actually changing to a different part of the track. And in the background, it looks like Hernandez has lost some more position. So he's down to 15th now. So Hernandez in the last point-scoring position on a bike that's won a race this season. So really poor performance from both riders so far in this race. But it looks like Stewart's trying to get up the inside of Furlon, but he couldn't quite pull that one off. So then they start the penultimate lap quick update on where Hernandez is. He's now got back in front of Philip Salac, so he's up into 14th place. Stewart is still sat in 11th, so there was no change for Stewart in this period, but Hernandez did move back ahead of Philip Salac, so hopefully he can try and get in front of the 2 riders ahead of him, obviously Artigas and Fenati as well, to at least get up into 12th place. So then, as we start the final lap of the race, Stewart then still sat in 11th. Hernandez has dropped back behind Salac once again into 15th, so a really poor performance from Hernandez. After out-qualifying his teammate, he's gone even further backwards than Stewart, although Stewart, to be honest, has not had a very good race either. Not sure what's happened ever since the win in Le Mans. They've been pretty bad, actually. They've been kind of closer to the Moto2 kind of pace, because they're scrapping for the bottom points, usually the Moto2 riders, and their bike is a speed up and it's virtually stock, so not sure what's going on with these guys here. Hopefully they'll improve for the next race, which I believe is Assen, but a really poor performance here at Catalonia. So coming out of the last corner then, up towards the line, it's going to be 11th place for Johnny Stewart, and then it's going to be 15th for Manuel Hernandez. Pretty poor weekend for the Moto3 guys. So in the end then, Tatsuki Suzuki won ahead of John McPhee in 2nd and Sergio Garcia in 3rd place. Darren Binder, the championship leader, ended up in 8th place. Not a great finish for him, but of course Stewart ended up in 11th and 15th then for Manuel Hernandez. So not sure what really happened this weekend, or even in the last weekend they weren't too strong, but an even worse result overall, not even a top 10 on what really should be a top 5 bike. So in the Riders' Championship then, John McPhee hits the front ahead of Suzuki in 2nd place by 2 points now, and Binder moves down from 1st to 3rd, now 5 points behind his teammate in the lead of the championship. Sergio Garcia moves up to 6th place ahead of Johnny Stewart, so Stewart loses that 6th and is now in 7th place, 5 points behind Garcia. He's only got 7 points ahead of Mino as well, and Fallon also moves ahead of Hernandez. A couple of poor weekends, and they've dropped a few positions in the championship. Let's see what that's done to the team's championship. So we move down to 4th place then. Indonesian Racing Grassini moved back ahead of us, and we've only got 7 points over the Red Bull KTM IO team. And 658, they've really got their stuff together, because we were in 2nd place a couple of episodes ago, and now they're 53 points ahead of us, which obviously you can gain 45 points a weekend in a swing, technically, if you get 1-2 and they retire, but that is quite a big gap to have only pulled out in 2 rounds, so we've really had a poor couple of races. Hopefully we can bounce back from this. So that's the Moto3 race done now then. Let's head into the Moto2 race and see if they can do any better. So down here on the grid then, Daisy Jackson's qualified 12th place, so pretty good qualifying for Daisy there, and Tomatsu Akagi in 10th place, so not too bad. Both, well, I was about to say both in the top 10, but they're not. But Akagi in the top 10 then, and Jackson much closer to Akagi than she has been as of late. And like I was saying in the Mugello race, it seemed like she kind of had found a bit of speed in that race, because she actually closed up to the back of Akagi in the race. So I'm hoping that maybe they can try and both get some points this time, but you never know what's going to happen. If Akagi can get off to a good start, he's probably got a chance of it. But let's get this race started and see what they can do. So then, watching Jackson, going to swap to Akagi, but there's only a couple of places in it, so it doesn't particularly matter. But lights out, and away we go. Akagi's had a fairly decent start once again, right near Augusto Fernandez, so I'm hoping he doesn't get scuttled out like he did last time. But as they run down towards turn 1, then he's now up to 9th place. Jackson still in 12th place, now up to 11th, so Jackson's not had a bad start. So they go down towards the first corner, then Akagi up the inside of a couple of people. He's got Di Gianantonio on his inside as well, a little bit of contact with Fabio Di Gianantonio. He's got up to 7th place. It's been a pretty good start then for Akagi. He goes up, I thought he was going up the inside of Garza then, but Garza was already a little bit behind. Joe Roberts actually going side by side with Akagi here, the championship leader, the runaway championship leader really. He's been winning most of the races this season. So Akagi has made it up to 7th place. Jackson's down to 14th, but to be fair, starting 12th, that's not too bad, only losing a couple of positions off the line. I think she just got back up to 13th there as well as we swapped away. As we go down towards turn 5, then I think Akagi's under attack by Hector Garzo. Actually, no, Joe Roberts has been under attack by Hector Garzo. Joe Roberts has been past Schrotter, stuck on the outside as well. So Roberts is going backwards here. Don't think he's been off the podium for a long time, but it looks like he's really struggling in this one so far. Garzo on the inside, couldn't quite get up the inside of Akagi then. So Akagi still in 7th for now. But up the inside goes well, so Schrotter up the inside of Tomatsu Akagi. So Akagi drops back down into 8th place. Garzo will probably get him on the run down towards turn 10 as well. Just to quickly check where Jackson's up to. Jackson is 13th. Akagi goes defensive though against us now. Cambobier goes side by side with Joe Roberts. So Garzo did get through, so Akagi is back down into 9th place. But it's now Joe Roberts, the championship leader, behind him, followed by Cameron Bobier, who, similarly to my riders really, has yo-yoed throughout the season. Sometimes he's fighting in the top 10, sometimes he's fighting in about 20th place, and that has kind of been how it has been for us as well. So we seem to be pretty similarly matched to Cameron Bobier. As we go into the final corner then, Akagi looks like he's going to end this first lap in ninth place. Beaubier had a little bit of contact with Joe Roberts there as well, which is definitely going to help Akagi out. Will cost Roberts a bit of time. So Akagi ends the first lap 1 place higher than he started it. So a pretty good first lap there for Tomatsu. If we check where Jackson is, Jackson's still in 13th, so she's really holding on. She's doing a pretty good job in this race so far. So quickly, a little update on where Jackson is. She's fighting with Dixon currently, and the two that I tend to get my tongue tied when trying to say their names. I usually kind of say one when I mean to say the other. They are fighting over 14th, and Dixon goes up the inside of Jackson through the penultimate turn. I think he might have this one done, but actually, to be fair, Daisy has kind of held it around the outside, but he has now got in front. So Jackson now down into 15th place, the last point scoring position. So it is actually looking pretty similar to the Moto3 race so far, but Akagi is actually catching up to the back of Fernandez. He's not being reeled in by... It was actually Joe Roberts behind, but it's now Marcos Ramirez, so the other American racing bike now on his way through. But Akagi actually goes up to the back of Fernandez, so hopefully he can try and get past Fernandez here. Just put a bite between him and the charging Ramirez. So unfortunately for Jackson, she's now been passed by Stefano Manzi as well, so she is outside the points fighting with Hafi Siren. I think that actually is Ayagora this time, whereas I kept saying that Chantra was Agora in the last race. So unfortunate for Jackson to drop out of the points there, but not much she could do, and Ramirez is caught right up to the back of Akagi and Fernandez now, so Akagi needs to try and make this move on Fernandez, but I think it's too late. There goes Marcos Ramirez up the inside of Tomatsu Akagi. Akagi's going to try and run it around the outside, but he couldn't quite stay ahead there. And that looks like Jake Dixon charging up in the background as well. So he passed Jackson on the last lap, so he's really on a charge here. Akagi looked up the inside of both Fernandez and Ramirez then, but thought better of it. So fair play to him, but Ramirez is a little wide. He actually might be able to capitalise on this. He's trying to go round the outside of him now through this turn 11, but he's not quite been able to pull that one off. So Ramirez is now going past Fernandez, so that does put Fernandez back in front of Akagi. So Fernandez being the next target once again through the final turn. Then can Akagi try and pass Fernandez here? I think the riders ahead are too far in front. I can't see any of them dropping back, but here comes Akagi. He's on the right-hand side of Fernandez, who, to be fair, has tried to go back at Ramirez here. Up the inside goes Akagi, though. Is he going to be able to get this one stopped? He actually couldn't quite get up the inside of him, but now Jake Dixon has arrived, and Dixon immediately... Well, I thought he was going to get straight through then. He had a look at going through. He couldn't quite pull it off, but I'm sure Dixon will be passing Akagi very, very shortly because he's been very fast this season on that Petronas bike, and he's trying to run it round the outside here of Fernandez, but he can't do it. Fernandez actually defending really, really well so far, but there goes Dixon up the inside. I think that's where Ramirez passed him actually on the last lap. And actually Ramirez, I think, passed him on the run into turn 9, didn't he? Never mind. A similar kind of move as he was trying to get past Fernandez again. So he really needs to try and dispatch Fernandez this time once Dixon has done so, because Joe Roberts is now right up behind him as well, with Stefano Manzi on his way. So Manzi and Dixon, who not long ago passed Jackson, are really on the way to the top 10 now. But there goes Joe Roberts up the inside of Akagi. So Akagi now demoted down to 12th place. He's still behind Fernandez, and wow, I think Manzi's going to go straight past him as well. So it seems like my two riders really struggling at this point of the race, because yeah, Jackson's now down to 20th. She's been mugged by a lot of this group, but she is still in front of the two NTS bikes, to be fair to her, and she actually is in front of Sumkiat Chantra as well, a little bit behind them. So Akagi just holding on in front of Manzi, but there goes Manzi up the inside. He couldn't quite pull it off, though. I feel like I said that quite a bit, but up the inside, he actually has done it this time through the penultimate turn. And unfortunately, and he goes past Fernandez as well, and Akagi's still stuck behind Fernandez. He's been stuck behind him for like 2 laps. It's kind of ruining his race, actually, because I think Fernandez was holding him up quite a bit. Can he try and get him finally on the run down towards his first corner? He tried on the last lap, but he couldn't quite do it. And Fernandez, again, is still trying to have a go at Manzi, so that's probably going to stop him from being able to pull off the pass. He's on the inside, but yeah, once again, he just couldn't quite match Fernandez on the break. So he's now down to 13th place, which is still his best finish of the season so far, but there are some fast riders coming up behind. Akagi looking at the inside of Fernandez. Has he finally done it? No, he still didn't, because he just couldn't get the power on alongside Fernandez. But there he goes up the inside into turn 9. He's finally made the pass up into 12th place now. And Ayagora, and I think that's Fabio Di Gianantonio right behind him, are on the way, along with a bit of a train as well. So this last lap is going to be pretty tense. They are sort of right towards the end of the penultimate lap now, so I'm hoping Akagi can put a bit of time ahead of Fernandez, and Fernandez can sort of hold up Agora a little bit and stop Agora from getting up to the back of Akagi. Akagi's taking a look over his shoulder, probably not the best place to do that, probably would have been better to do it on the straight. But Agora is immediately looking like he's trying to make a move here on Fernandez, and I think he's done it already. Not quite, actually. They're still side by side, does go down towards the last corner. Agora should have this one, but Bezecchi's actually winning this race ahead of Lowe's in second, Canet in third, and Remy Gardner in 4th place. And as they come up towards the line then to start the final lap, Akagi still sat in 12th. Fernandez and Agora still go side by side down towards turn 1. We've seen Fernandez do that about 3 or 4 times now. and Fernandez actually gets passed by Digi Antonio as well. Same with Agora, so Digi Antonio is going to be the rider on the move here, and I'm assuming that he's probably going to catch and pass Akagi on this final lap, because the Moto2 riders do that. They can make up massive gaps and make passes immediately. It's so strange. Just an update on where Jackson is. She's down in 26 now, so after a really promising start to the weekend, she's had a tough race. But fair play, she did hang on for the first couple of laps, but there goes Digi Antonio up the inside of Akagi. He should have this one on the power, and even if he doesn't, he'll dive up the inside into turn 9, because it's very similar to what Akagi did to Fernandez on the last lap. Yeah, there he goes, up the inside goes Fabio Digi Antonio, demotes Akagi back down to 13th once again, but he's got this position twice so far this season, so if he could bring it home again, it would be a joint personal best. But Tony Arbolino is looking dangerous behind. He's caught up quite a bit as well, and obviously we know he's extremely fast because he got knocked off at the first corner in the last race and still managed to bring it home in 8th place. So we know he's got some pace. So as they're coming towards the dying stages of this lap now, we just want Akagi to hold on to this 13th place. Even if he gets past, I suppose 14th would still be fine, but 13th would just be a little bit better. As they go into the last corner then, Akagi looking over his shoulder, probably not the best time to do it through the last corner, but as they come up towards the line, I think he's just going to hang on in front of Tony Arbolino. Yes, he does. So 13th then for Tomatsu Akagi, and it's going to be 26th for Daisy Jackson, but you can see she's right behind Cameron Bobier, so once again he dropped through the pack as well. So Marco Bezzecchi absolutely dominated that race then, ahead of Sam Lowes in 2nd, Aaron Canet in 3rd place. Joe Roberts down in 9th, obviously the championship leader there, so he's going to lose a fair amount of ground, although I think it's Bezzecchi and Arbolino that are 2nd and 3rd, so Arbolino has actually still lost points to Joe Roberts in this race. But Tomatsu Akagi finishes just ahead of Arbolino in 13th place. That's going to help us out because we've beat both the NTS riders, and I don't think any of the Idemitsu bikes scored, so we actually might move up in the Teams Championship. But if we have a look at the Riders' Championship first then, Lowes actually moves ahead of Tony Arbolino now, so only a 14-point lead for Joe Roberts, despite having a really dominant streak at one point in the season where he won about 3 or 4 races in a row. Bezzecchi only 14 points behind. Lowes tied actually with Arbolino in 3rd place. Jake Dixon a few points further behind as well, so quite a close battle here in Moto2 so far. Tomatsu Akagi actually moves up a position up to 24th in the championship, now got 10 points, so he's got 2 points clear off Stefano Manzi. But unfortunately for Daisy Jackson, she's still bottom of the table. I suppose that makes sense. She's not going to really move up unless she gets a 16th position. Then she might move up a little bit. But quite a good qualifying for her. Quite a good opening couple of laps. But unfortunately, she really seemed to drop off as the race went on. In the Teams Championship then, Sky VR46 actually move ahead of the Intact GP team. But we're focused on the bottom of the table where, yes, we actually do overtake the Idemitsu team. So we're now up to 14th in the standings, although the team in front of us, American Racing, have double our points, so that's going to be pretty tough to overcome that. But it is now time for the MotoGP race. I think this one is going to be pretty good because the AI, not too bad at this circuit, to be fair. They're not too bad. However, on the last couple of laps, they have some major drop-off in pace with the tyres, so that's something to watch out for. I know what compounds I'm going to pick as well already, so hopefully we should have a nice race coming through the pack. So I'll see you down on the grid. Hopefully I can do the business. So then down here on the grid, they actually just swapped away from Fabio Quartararo, who's currently on pole position. 2nd place then for Maverick Vinales, so a Monster Energy Yamaha 1-2. I'm going a hard tyre on the rear, soft tyre on the front. Bastianini actually 9th place on the grid, so pretty good qualifying from one of my teammates there at least. But this should be a fairly interesting race because, like I said, the AI's pace is not too bad around here. And if any of the AI get away at the front, it's going to be pretty hard to catch them up because they are very fast until the last couple of laps. They start to leak quite a bit of time. I think you'll probably remember back to the first season of the MotoGP class. That happened to Dovi and Marquez. It might have happened in the 2nd season as well, actually, but I can't fully remember. I probably pulled away on that one because I did tend to most of the time on the Suzuki. Let's get this race started now then. 23rd on the grid. We need to be in the top 10 by the end of the first lap, really. Otherwise, we've not got a chance at this one.
Just a few moments to go and the Catalan Grand Prix will officially begin. Riders are getting focused because they know that they will have to give 100% from the very beginning.
So once again then, Zarco being absolutely outclassed by Martin, with Martin on the front row once again. But waiting for the lights to go out here then, lights out, and away we go for the Catalan Grand Prix. This one will be good. Past Savadori already, we've got Marini just ahead of us, and then the two Tech 3 KTMs and Rossi. So it's the usual lot towards the back of the grid, but we're going to go up the inside of the first corner, see if we can make up quite a few positions, because they are fairly weak on a few braking points on this circuit. You can see they've all gone really wide through the first corner. I'm now actually being hung out to dry on the second part of the corner. We're up to 17th position. A few riders going wide here, going to stick up to traction control 3 just to try and stop myself sliding into the path of anybody. So still 17th then. Binder trying to go around the outside. And a big crash. Bastianini down again. And his bike's being pushed. And is slid into one of the Aprilias there, Lacey Spagger. And I've lost loads of positions from that because I was just trying not to hit that bike when really I probably should have just gone full tilt into the corner and would have got away with it. So we're back to the back of the pack again because Bastianini's bike, I have no idea what happened there. I just saw it came with yellow flag and then just saw, I think it was Alex Marquez pushing that bike along. So I lost quite a few positions from that because I was just trying to stay out of trouble. I didn't want to get taken out by that bike or have contact with any AI because of it. So we're now down to 17th again behind, obviously, the boss. In front of us, Valentino Rossi and Morbidelli. Then it's Petrucci. So some of the pretty slow riders right ahead of us then. This could be interesting down towards turn 10. So if we can get around the outside, Rossi goes back towards the outside. We're going to try and get the inside of Rossi then here and see if we can get Petrucci and Morbidelli on the exit as well because they're both really wide. Yes, I can. So up to 14th place. It's not been the ideal first lap purely because of that incident. Because we're only just back up behind Alex Marquez where we were literally going through turn 3. The first corner was actually pretty good for me. Second corner not so much. And then obviously the run down towards turn 4 was not particularly great, but I was just trying to stay out of trouble. But here we go then out the last corner. We might have the run on Alex Marquez. We've got the slipstream off Takaki Nakagami in front. Mir is only in 12th place, so my championship rival is really far down the order, so we don't have to make up many positions to pass him. But up the inside of Alex Marquez, we're going to try and get Mir as well as we go down towards this first corner. Mir's still got it for now, but he's going to get hung out to dry through this second... Yeah, through the end of the first corner into the second one because the AI take a little bit of a strange line through the first corner. So that's allowed me to get past Jar Mir then. So already in front of my main championship rival. But I want to keep making positions up. So we're side by side with Nakagami down towards turn 4, obviously where there was the crash on the previous lap. We've got in front of Nakagami. He hits me up the back. To be fair, I probably did come over on his line a little bit there. So apologies for that. I just kind of wanted to get onto the proper racing lines through the corner and sort of probably cut up Nakagami a little bit. So sat in 11th place and behind Zarco. So once again, Martin so far in front of Zarco. But again, they've got the same performance. So I have no idea why this keeps happening. Because of the same bike, same performance. They should both be capable of being pretty close to each other. Obviously, there is a little bit of leeway. So sometimes Zarco should be in front of Martin, Martin in front of Zarco. But it's constantly Zarco about 10th and Martin fighting for the win. But as we go down towards turn 10, then we're going to go around the outside of Jean Zarco easily there, but we've done a massive stop. He actually cost myself a load of time. We might want to get him on the exit here. Yes, we can. Oh, bit of a penalty, though, I picked up there because I went on the green. That's fair play. I was going to give the position back, but since I got a penalty for it as well, I'm just going to keep going. There's no point particularly... There's no point costing myself more time when I've already been penalised for the incident. But this has been such a messy race so far. I need to really just try and get my head down and go. Quartararo is pulling away at the front and Miller second, Vinales third. Vinales is probably the main threat at the minute because Mir is nowhere. Neither is Marc Marquez. So really I've got to watch out for... I think it's Vinales is about third or fourth in the championship. So it's Vinales I need to watch out for. Needs to try and dispatch of Rins and Oliveira and then just try and get through that little group of 4 in front and catch up to those leaders because they are going to get away through turn 4. Then we're on the inside of Rins, but to be honest, I don't want to be here. I'm going to go to the outside so I can pass down towards 5, up the inside of Alex Rins, up into 9th place then. We can fire it out of here pretty well, which I've not because I turned too sharp. I might have been able to get Oliveira on the run to 7, although it actually still might be doable. Up the inside into turn 7 on Miguel Oliveira. We've done it. He's almost run us up the back because we did have to properly get it stopped on the apex. But I wanted to make sure I got that move done because now I should be able to attack Bagnaia down towards turn 10. And I know what you're thinking. I'm absolutely miles behind him, but they lose a lot of time if you actually brake at the right spot. So they move over and he's going to go really... Well, usually they actually go pretty wide. Yeah, there we go. That's what I was expecting him to do, but he did it a little bit later than I thought he would. We've got past Bagnaia now, up into 7th. Marc Marquez ahead. Then it's Pol Espargaro. Then it's Martin. Then there you can see Vinales in 3rd place, Miller in 2nd, and Quartararo is checking out, kind of like how Bagnaia did in the previous one. So through the final turn, then trying to get it to perfection. Marquez has not had the best run, but I don't think I'm going to quite be in contention to pass him as we come up towards the line then. Quartararo does a 39.6, I do a 39.3, so I am lapping quicker than Fabio, so that is one good thing. As we go down towards the first corner then, I'm going to go around the outside of Marquez because he goes a little bit defensive, but... Yeah, there was no point in trying to actually stick the bike there because I would only have lost time. But we should be able to get him here through turn 2, up the inside. But he's now got the inside for turn 3, actually. So again, I am losing time by putting myself on the outside. So Marquez actually gets back in front of us. Fair play to Mark, but we should look to get him down towards turn 4, I would have thought, because we're pretty close up the inside to turn 4. Then this is going to be close. He's hanging it around the outside, but I should have it on the power in the middle of the corner. Yes, I am now in front of him. I've got to get over to the left-hand side, because I wanted to really attack Pole for turn 5, but we've not been able to do so. Marquez hasn't been able to attack me back, though. And hopefully we can try and pass Pole down towards turn 7. No, too far behind. And he went a little bit defensive. Well, not defensive, actually. He was more on the attack of Martin. So that kind of upset it a little bit. We might be able to pass them both, actually, into turn 10, though, because we saw, obviously, how much time they lose. And I think I might have done a double pass at some point. It was either in this race or in a different one I've done at this circuit. I've definitely passed 2 people at this corner before, though. So into turn 10, on the inside of Paul. Actually, that's not what I wanted to do. Oh, Marquez! Whoa, Mark absolutely rammed into the back of me there. So we only passed one rider, but I think the most crucial thing is I didn't pick up damage from that incident. So I'll take it. I'll take sitting behind Martin for an extra few corners for not picking up some major damage, because Mark has actually just clattered into the side of me. And I think Mark actually has given himself some sort of damage, because he's now dropped back. Paul getting really close to the back of me there then. This lap's obviously not going to quite be as good, because we lost a bit of time battling with Marquez. Yeah, in the 40s now, 1 minute 40.5. Down towards turn 1, and I can hear Pol Espargaro's Honda, but I don't think he's going to quite have it. So Martin then, he is the next guy to pass, and then there's a bit of a gap then to Maverick Vinales. So out of turn 4 then, we're closing up to Martin. We should be able to attack him down towards 5. Up the inside we go. This is going to be close. He's left us the space. Up the inside. We've done the move. Up into 4th place then now. So it is now the hunt for Maverick Vinales. 2.4 seconds. So as usual, there's a bit of a big gap. But we have actually got over half the race to do it this time. Bit similar to Mugello. So actually giving myself a reasonable amount of time to get up to the back of Vinales. I don't know if we're going to catch Quartararo, to be honest, because he's miles ahead. But if I can catch up to Miller and Vinales, that would be good. So new fastest lap of the race, and 1 minute 39.0. Only 1.9 seconds behind Vinales now. So up towards the line this time, then I think it's going to be even quicker. Yeah, another half a second quicker than the one on the previous lap. 38.5. So only 7 tenths behind Maverick now. So the race is on, definitely for second place. And the lead is probably not out of reach. If I can pass Maverick, I can pass Miller quick enough. I've got some serious pace here, it seems, compared to the AI, so I actually might be able to sort of catch us to the back of Fabio, because again, we've only just completed half race distance. We've just done 6 laps out of 12, so I don't see why I wouldn't be able to catch up to them if I can pass these. If I can pass these 2 in front, there's no reason why I wouldn't be able to catch Fabio. So down into 5, then we have closed up to the back of Vinales. I've not done it ideally though. I was a little bit wide through 5, so I don't think there's going to be an attack into 7, so we'll probably have to pass him down towards 10, and then I'll probably have to wait till the next lap then to pass Miller at some point. Unless I can really, really get lucky, but I doubt it, because Miller's got a bit of a lead over Vinales, and the rear is sliding quite a bit there. Put it back into traction control 3. I've been messing between 2 and 3, depending on sort of the lap and the sector, depending how I feel, if I need a bit more slide, a bit less. But as we go into turn 10 then, Vinales is going to be wide. We should be able to pass Maverick here. Yes, we can. Very close with him though. Make sure I don't cut that corner again. So up into 3rd place now then. Jack Miller just ahead, and actually Quartararo's not as far in front as I thought he was. He actually looks a lot closer once you get up to the back of Miller and Vinales. Well, once you get past Vinales and onto the back of Miller, he doesn't seem quite as far away. Although that might have just been because it's such a slow corner. So I bet he's probably got about 2 seconds over them. So as we come up towards the line then, Quartararo still leads the race, 39.1, so back into 39s. They should have this still over Vinales. I can hear his engine, but he's not going to pass me on a Yamaha, I don't think, on the straight. So next target is Miller. I thought I was going to lose the front then because I went in way too... I kind of was trailing a bit too much front brake, but I got away with it. So next target is Miller. Hopefully we can try and pass him down towards turn 10. I actually might not need to wait that long because we're very close to him through 5. A bit closer than we were to Vinales, so I might have a go down towards turn 7, you know, on Jack Miller here. Here we go, up the inside of him. I've not gone down enough gears, so I went down to 2nd. Needed to bang down another gear for 1st, and that's allowed him to get back through. Didn't slow it down enough, but we definitely will have him into turn 10 now because we're right behind him. But it's such a shame because it actually would have cost us a fair amount of time because it's not actually even quicker necessarily to dive up the inside into 7. It's just obviously not stuck behind an AI. So there we go, into 10, then I'm going for it nice and early. Oh no, why did I do that? I should have just waited for him to run wide. I was really not in a good position, and I needed to let off the brake to not have contact with Miller, so we've lost probably about a lap's worth of progress now, and it does look like it's going to be quite hard to catch up to Fabio, so I need to pass Miller as soon as possible, maybe down towards turn 1 if I can do it, but they're very good through this last sector, that's the problem. They're very good through the penultimate and final turns, and it's pretty hard to set up and move on them, and I think Quartararo is actually pulling away whilst we're doing this as well, and I might have burnt my tyres up a bit as well, catching up to the back of these guys. Yeah, 39.9, so I'm lapping like over a second slower than I was when I was in clean air. So here we go then, through turn 2. We're going to have the run on Miller here, inside through turn 2. We have to close off the door for turn 3. He's got the inside, but he's had to back out because I kind of squeezed him right onto the curb. So we've got past Jack Miller now, 2 seconds it is to Fabio Quartararo, and we've got about 4 laps to do it in. It's going to be close. So here we go then, we've caught up to the back of Fabio Quartararo as we come up towards the line, then a new fastest lap of the race on that one as well. 1 minute 38.5 again, but a slightly faster one. As we go down towards the first corner, we've got 2 laps to try and make the move stick here on Fabio, and if you look at our fuel as well, we're pretty close. In fact, actually, we are slightly under target by about half a lap, so I'm going to have to go power mode 0 to the end of the race here. We've got 2.7 seconds back to Jack Miller, so we can afford to sort of go for a bit of a rash move and loses both a bit of time because Miller is not going to sneak through, but hopefully we're able to have him on the run down towards turn 5 because we've closed up massively through 4. Try to get on the power. Again, it's going to be a very close finale. We're not going to quite be able to get on the inside here though, I don't think. I'm going to try it then into 7, set him up for the switchback move out of 5 through 6 down towards 7. I'm not really sure why this is classed as a corner because it is more just like a kink in the straight. But here we got the inside into 7. I've made sure I've got into first gear this time. Quartararo on the outside. I take the lead of the race. There we go. We clip the apex. And now we should be able to pull out a bit of a lead through turn 10. That should keep us safe for the rest of the lap because AI are extremely good into the last couple of corners. And they probably could make some sort of pass there. Let's go down towards turn 10 then. I've not actually messed it up this lap. I've not gone in super wide like I have done a couple of times so far. So I think we might have this one because we've got the pace over Quartararo. It's quite clear we've caught him by 2 seconds and passed him. So on this last lap we should have it. We should still be quicker than him because again they do seem to drop off a little bit on these last couple of laps, but I've got even faster as the race has gone on as well, setting my new fastest lap of the race, well the new fastest lap of the race on the previous lap. But there we go then, we've got a big gap over Quartararo as we come up towards the line then. What's this time going to be? 39.2, but we've got half a second over Fabio. We should be able to hang on to that as we go down towards the first corner then for the final time. So here we go then, down towards the final corner. It's going to be yet another win, so 2 wins in a row here. We're getting this season back on track, and with my main rival outside the top 10, we're going to gain a massive points lead. So in the end then, we won by 0.7 of a second ahead of Fabio Quartararo. I actually forgot about the penalty, so it's a good job I did keep the pace up on the last lap and didn't let him get close to me. Jack Miller then ends up in 3rd place, half a second in front of Maverick Vinales in 4th, 5th then for Martin, 6th for Espargaro, 7th then Marquez must have not picked up any damage when we had the contact. Whereas Mir ended up 13th, so Mir absolutely nowhere in this one. Let's see what that's done to the Riders' Championship. So then, as I thought during the race, Maverick Vinales would now be my closest rival, and we've got 50 points ahead of Maverick now, so a big championship lead. Miller only 3 points further back. Mir, again, only another 5 points behind him. Then 2 back to Marquez, another 2 back to Quartararo, then just a few points back to Martin, so it's an extremely close championship fight for second place in the championship. In the Teams Championship then, we move up to 3rd place from 5th, 23 points now away from the lead, because again, a really good weekend for the Monster Energy Yamaha riders. It's going to be hard to make up points to them. We've actually lost 8 points, I think it is, overall to them. But 1 point now in front of Suzuki, a few points ahead of Repsol Honda. So this Teams Championship is going to be pretty interesting to keep his eye on, because it's basically just me against these teams, and I want to see what we can actually pull off, see if we can try and get a win effectively on my own, because that was something I wasn't able to do in Moto 3 when I was on my own in a team. I got 2nd in the Teams Championship, so hopefully we could try and win this one on merit just ourselves, because Marini doesn't look like he's going to be scoring any points this season. And in the Constructors' Championship, nothing has actually really changed, because Ducati won again, Yamaha 2nd again, that would be then Honda, would be the next highest manufacturer, then Suzuki, then KTM, and of course Aprilia not scoring anything after Savadori's just not got the pace, and Aleix Espargaro got knocked off on the first lap. So speaking of that incident, let's go quickly have a look at it, because Bastianini crashed on a straight somehow, and then sort of got pushed along by Alex Marquez and skittled out an Aprilia, so I just want to see what was happening with that. So then, we're on board here with Bastianini, and it's such a weird crash. Watch out on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see Nakagami comes in here, then he goes away again, then he comes back, taps him a little bit, has him off, and you can see he's been pushed by Alex Marquez. His bike then comes steaming into the side of a group of riders, and that was poor Ordonez sliding on his head the whole way to the barrier there, and that was him out of the race. I'm guessing probably the same thing here for Aleix Espargaro as well, but if we watch on board with somebody else, so if we watch from Nakagami's point of view, then we'll slow it down because it'll be too hard to see in real time. You can see Bastianini is actually coming towards the inside of the track just as Nakagami is sort of drifting outwards, so I wouldn't say that was really anybody's fault. I think that was a racing incident, but Nakagami wheelied up the bike, was lucky to get away with it, and then sort of just carried on like nothing happened. Who actually got taken out? I think it was Aleix, and I think maybe Morbidelli. So if we watch on board with Aleix, we'll slow it down again. He's tipping it into the corner, and that bike just comes out of nowhere and bashes into him, Morbidelli, and Binder. And I think Morbidelli might have stayed on, but Binder definitely didn't, because we saw him crash, and of course Aleix didn't as well. So if we watch with Morbidelli, then comes Steven in. Yeah, Morbidelli gets pushed wide, but not actually off. And down goes Brad Binder and Aleix Espargaro, and obviously, of course, Enea Bastianini, who started the whole thing. Well, he didn't start it, but whose bike started the whole thing. That was such a weird crash. So then, after looking at that incident, it is now time to head into the career hub and see what awaits us. I don't think it's going to be great, because we've not got much money from our junior teams, and it's going to be a big pay week for us as well, so I think we're going to have very few credits left. So then, from this weekend, we gain 8,100 reputation, which takes us up to 903,400, so over the 900,000 threshold now. I don't think we're going to quite get to a million, unfortunately, by the end of this season. It would have been really cool to actually get that high of a reputation, but I suppose there's always MotoGP 21 to try and achieve that on. So on the credit side of things then, we gained 56,250 from that race win, which takes us up to 172,932 credits. So another mixed weekend then for the Moto2 team, because we lost 612 prestige, which again is a lot of prestige to lose, but they actually did deliver the goods on the research data. We got 600 from them once again, so not too bad on that front, but for the prestige, not fantastic. And of course, Akaki did bring us home some points, so not the worst weekend. In Moto3, on the other hand, pretty poor, because they were both absolutely nowhere on the bike that should be near the front, and we lost 456 prestige, which is actually really taking us close to halfway now on the prestige bar, which is annoying because we spent the whole of last season building it up. And they brought home 450 research data. Well, actually, Hernandez brought home 450 research data. Stewart actually has had a pretty abysmal weekend, 11th place, and no research data to bring home. At least, obviously, Hernandez brought research data home. Not that he really brought any points home, he only brought the one. But yeah, a pretty poor weekend there for the Moto3, because the research data doesn't even matter anymore. So then, that's the end of that weekend, but we have got a notification then on the personal manager front, a new candidate available once again. So another A++ then. They do seem like a good person to hire, but of course, I'm not going to bother hiring anybody because this is the last season anyway. But that pretty much brings this episode to a close. Not a lot to say really. Pretty poor weekend from the Moto3 riders. Moto 2, not too bad actually, because Akagi once again met his personal best finish of the season, and Jackson had a good qualifying, a good opening couple of laps, but unfortunately she dropped backwards, so it seems like she really is struggling to adapt in Moto 2, but there's definitely some potential there. She's getting better every weekend. Like in Mugello, her race pace seemed pretty good, whereas obviously in Catalonia, her qualifying pace seemed not too bad. So if she can put the two together, she might be able to bring us home some points as well. And obviously in the MotoGP race, another win for us, which is nice to see, extending that championship lead, 50 points now ahead of Maverick Vinales in second. It's going to be good because we are going to be coming up to some tracks, obviously Kimi Ring and Brno, where it's going to be very, very difficult to actually come through the pack. Kimi Ring, because even though I've done this many seasons, I still don't really know the track too well, and Brno, the AI are actually just pretty good there, so it will be quite tough, but hopefully if those 2 weekends are dry, actually, we've got a decent chance of getting something not too bad out of it. But I hope you guys did enjoy that one, hope you enjoyed the rest of your day, hope you're all staying safe, and I shall see you in the next one.